So this is our client Jill, and in her first 30 days of starting her Christmas light installation business, we were able to make her around $20,000, dial in her sales a little bit more, dial in her team, and then dial in her lead flow, right? A lot of people come to us just like Jill did, and they want to scale to that next level. They want to, bring in an extra 80 to $150,000 like a lot of our clients do. And she just didn't know how to get there. So we kind of went ahead and we're like, okay, where are you at? Where are you looking to get to? What is the roadblock to get there? And basically solve that problem. So for her, it was paid ads and getting the name out there to get a lot more leads in the door. That way she could sell. And then once leads started to come in, we needed to structure the team and the sales process a little bit more for her. So that way she is selling efficiently. So if you are looking to add anywhere from like $50 to $150,000 next year for your business, whether that be Christmas lights like Jill, or exterior cleaning, deck and fence staining, landscape lighting, whatever. We've helped a ton of people in all those aspects. So if you are ready to scale, go ahead and watch this video. This video is going to literally walk you through every step that we took to actually help Jill and her team scale. And then, yeah, if you're interested in wanting to see how we can actually help you, you can go ahead and book in a call below. So enjoy.
The thing that I love about you and your organization is that it's not just marketing. You're not just running the ads. You actually were coaching me. And there were days where I was just like swamped and couldn't think straight. And you would just be straightforward and be like, you just need to do this. And it just kind of
Yeah,
reset me. So it was very
yeah,
helpful.
yeah.
But your results were so quick that it was very clear to me that it was going to be great. But yeah, it's worth every penny. Yeah. And that's so my name is Jill. I am the owner of Lux Lights in the Charlotte area. Started the business. So we are electrical contractors and we started hearing more about holiday lighting and we decided to go in that direction and give it a try. So we did all of the formal training with Clippa and broke this business off separate than the electrical because it is really different. It's a really different skill set. So we broke it off, and I was really the one that was in charge of getting it going. So probably we started our first install. We just started in the end of September and just tried to do some standard marketing. Yard signs is always a classic for the Christmas lights business. And we got a couple leads, but it started to slow down after like the second week in October, and I started to get worried. So I saw in a couple of the Facebook groups that your name had been mentioned. I reached out to you. It was really easy to schedule a call with you, which is key because I don't want to go through all of that, ask me, 300 questions about my business and then find somebody who, so it was really easy to schedule a call with you and you were straight to the point, which I love. And I think any business owner can appreciate the fact that it's simple and easy to get on a call with you. So yeah, I just explained to you that I was struggling and I didn't know how to take it to the next level. You asked me a couple questions and um, you really told me what I needed to get going on with the marketing, with the Facebook. I mean, everything before we were just throwing content up there, basically using AI.
Yeah.
And you pushed me out of my comfort zone a little bit because you told me I had to do videos and take some selfies. And so reluctantly I did, and it worked out well. And so you ran a couple ads for us, and I couldn't believe how quickly it started to happen. I mean, we came on, I think we started in early November is when we first started running ads. And I mean, I couldn't keep up with what was coming in. And I do think if I could have responded quicker, we would have had even more.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
Cool. So, like I said, I really want to go into like all of the details, like when we even when we first started, like I know you said I kind of gave you some advice on like what to do, but if you can kind of share like what I was like, hey, let's dial this in because this is a very important part of the overall process. Like if you could just kind of name a few and like what I've kind of positioned for you, just because I remember content was a big thing, and then also that VA that you hired that wasn't necessarily the best fit to kind of go into the sales process. But yeah, kind of dive into that a little bit.
Yeah, so content first was just getting all of those actual on the job site photos, which was actually kind of fun after I got used to it.
Yeah,
But it definitely makes a difference, and I do see that myself when I'm looking at other companies' Facebook. When you see what's really going on, it just makes it more real. So
yeah,
so yeah, a lot of times you would just say, hey, do this or do that, try this, try that. So it was really good that you were straight to the point and just told me kind of what to do. And then we could just do it from there.
Yeah.
And then, so I had hired a VA to help out with all the administrative things. Everybody's talking about a VA, get a VA. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to get a VA. I had to be actually, so my lead installer, he actually left after our second install. He decided to go in a different direction. He had been trained in everything. So I had been thrown into the field and I was training new guys and I was, doing everything. So I decided to hire a VA to help me out, which was great administratively. But when she started taking the calls, I just got the feeling that something wasn't right. And I remember talking to you about it. And you said, imagine if you called somebody locally and you got someone who didn't speak really fluent English, and how you would feel. And that to me, because I really feel what other people are feeling. And so when you said that, I kind of put myself in those shoes and was like, oh my gosh. So I literally, I remember this very vividly. I was on the phone with you in my car outside of my office when you told me to do it. I came into my office, sat down and told my VA, you can't take any more calls, just do the administrative stuff. And then I went and called everybody back that she had previously called. And two of those people very quickly said, I'm glad you called me because I thought you were not a local company.
Yeah.
And so that was really helpful. So the thing that I love about you and your organization is that it's not just marketing. You're not just running the ads. You actually were coaching me. And there were days where I was just like swamped and couldn't think straight. And you would just be straightforward and be like, you just need to do this. And it just kind of reset me. So it was very helpful. Yeah.
It kind of goes back to the childhood saying, like, your parents tell you treat people how you want to be treated. It's like, sell people how you want to be sold and look at how you buy from things. And most of the time you don't buy things from someone that you just see. Like, you need to hear about them and, see them around multiple times before you start talking, before you even think about buying their stuff. So yeah, that's awesome. Also, I do want to touch base back on the whole content side. So for those of you watching, basically what I meant by content with when obviously we helped Jill like just start, she was using a lot of like AI stuff, basically just like videos with text on them. I think you maybe had like a few AI voiceovers. I'm not entirely sure. But a lot of kind of what we want to do in any sort of advertising is we want to be authentic and real so that, people, when we run our ads, people see you around, they know, like, and trust you. And all we're doing is basically just putting a face to the name, right? So putting a face of the crew working, pictures of the crew installing, and then also just kind of giving that friendly vibe. That's a big part of it. And then, from there, carrying that through your sales process. If you guys have like really good marketing and ads dialed in, and then your sales doesn't replicate what the branding brought in, it's like it's not going to match up. If you have, you seem like a local company, but when you get on the phone, it's someone foreign in India trying to sell you. It's not going to work. So I'm glad we got that sorted because I know for a fact if we didn't get that sorted, your growth wouldn't be where it's at. So, yeah, kind of tell everybody, how long did you work with us? And then like how much we brought in? Because I know we kind of started somewhat last minute.
Yeah, so we started, I think, I know I talked to you in October, but I don't think I had done the training and all of that until probably November. So I think we started running ads in November. We ran, I have the stats in front of me, so I'm kind of looking down at them here, but I think we spent about $1,300 in ads and it brought in $20,000, over $20,000 in jobs. My average ticket from your leads alone was like 2380 or somewhere around there. So they were good, solid leads. It wasn't just, people who wanted small jobs. They were good leads. So there was over 90 leads that came in actually. But like I said, some of them I just wasn't set up to get back to them quick enough. And it pains me to say that, but at the same time, it was such a learning experience and having to switch gears multiple times with being, losing the installer and then having the VA having to switch gears and take that over. Going into it next season, I'll be much more prepared. So
yeah. Because I think one thing that a lot of people, especially with me, when I get on these calls, I have to set their expectations correctly. So one thing I always say is like, we can kill it in the first year. It's totally possible, depending on what you mean by killing it. But the first year with us is going to be a learning thing because even if you feel like you have, a team ready, someone may leave and you need to step into a different role. So there's always things that are going to be happening that's outside of what you think is going to happen. So like the first year I tell everybody is like, let's focus on what we need to do now, kill it, but expect that things are going to happen and we need to learn and adapt. So I'm glad this happened with you this year because you now know what to do for next year, and we can start earlier and we can even make you more money. So I always say, like, the people that work with us the longest, the most understanding, and the ones that have like the lowest expectations always are the ones that make the most. So, with you, we did over 20,000 in what, like a month? Not even a month,
Yeah,
probably.
probably not
Something
even
like
a month. Yeah.
something like that. Yeah. And that's very last minute. So next year, if we start earlier, like September, I think we were saying, or something like
Mhm.
that, if we average 20K a month, it'll be 60. But I guess we'll see. But I'm glad you did, get this stuff somewhat dialed in a little bit more. So,
Yeah, and
um,
next year's gonna be, because I've learned so much and going into it, I'll know to have the right person, the administrative person, and I also understand the sales process more. And I remember you saying to me also is, it sounds like you're pretty comfortable doing you're not, I wasn't comfortable doing sales, but I knew how to do it
yeah,
pretty well. So you really, again, pushed me a little bit out of my comfort zone, but it was a good thing because it forced me to learn and understand the process better so that when I'm training somebody next year, I know exactly what needs to, what are the areas that we need to hit on when we're talking to them up front, how quickly we need to get back to them, and just all those little things that I didn't know going into it this year.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I don't know if you remember this, by the way, but if you do, I'd love for you to kind of explain it. I know when we first hopped on, I was really trying to just get a feel for what your market really resonates with, because you're north of Charlotte. You're in more of like that Lake Norman area where the nicer homes are. And I know on that first call, we were like, we need to resonate with these people and we need to get in front of the right people. So for example, when you're advertising, you need to speak down to the audience's language. So if I said, hey, North Charlotte, say we said, hey,
Mhm.
North Charlotte in the ad, it's not going to resonate with the people, hey, in Lake Norman, because that's what they go by, which is
Mhm.
something you told me, which is something that is very important. So just some stuff like that. And then obviously with what we're pushing out on the ads, like making sure it resonates with that area. So that's something that is very important for those of you watching. Like, you know, when you're running ads, you need to hit home on all aspects. Otherwise it's not going to work. So yeah, I mean, I guess other than that, do you remember like how fast you started to see leads and jobs like coming in? I remember when we first started, we had a pretty decent launch. I don't remember like the first time you closed a job, but I guess what's your take on that? Like,
It was pretty fast. I remember you said, I'm going to turn the ads on, and it was only a day or two, and they were already starting to come in, and they were the pre-qualified leads. So
mhm,
by the time I got on the phone with them, they already knew what to expect. They knew where our sort of minimum starts, and they weren't taken back by when I said our minimum usually is around 1,000. So that helped a lot. But I don't remember the first one that we closed, but I remember them coming in very quickly after you said we're going to launch. And
mhm,
and from there it just went. And I think that's probably when I said I need to get a VA because
probably.
I can't do all of this.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So, do you remember where you were at with the numbers? Like when we first had a first call, like, do you remember what you were making per month with the lighting business?
So I think when we first met, I had done about 10,000,
Okay.
and we ended up around 55 for the season.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah.
So yeah,
And this is your first season too, for those of you watching too. So
yep.
yeah, I mean, you'll be able to, yeah, the goal next year, let's aim for 100. I think we can do that if we start earlier and you start doing what we've kind of taught you this year, just sooner. So
Yep.
yeah,
I was writing down my goals for next season, and I thought, well, 100, but then I also thought, you know what, I can do more than 100 if we start sooner. And now that I understand the process and
yeah.
I know who I need in place where. So
Mhm.
I feel really confident we're going to exceed 100 next year for the season. Um, but yeah, I mean, I'm excited about the whole year. You and I have talked
Yeah.
about other things going on for the year, and I'm super excited about all of them.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess kind of walk everybody through, like, obviously 2023, we helped you with Christmas lights, being able to scale, dial things in better. What are we going to be doing moving into 2024 as it is like the fourth today of 2024?
So architectural lighting, which is the permanent Christmas lights, basically. Also with the architectural lighting is the dock lighting. And then we'll do landscape lighting, probably more springtime-ish. But right now, starting January, big focus on architectural lighting.
Yeah. Yeah, and that the same thing that we did with Christmas lights too, Jill, is like right now you don't have like a lot of content to kind of work with.
Mhm.
But the good thing is like let's get our foot in the door, see what we can do, and then over time let's step up the content game because I mean, if the ads suck, if the people look at the ad and it's like it's not even desirable, it's not gonna, grab attention. So, um, yeah, just something that I would touch on just because I get a lot of these calls. A lot of them are already ready to work with us. They're just like, hey, I've seen your stuff, let's go. But there's a lot of people that think, oh, I just need to run a Facebook ad with the right targeting and it's gonna work. And the offer sucks. There's no good content. There's nothing in place. They just turn it on and think it's gonna blow up. So one thing that I guess you could touch on is like what over everything that we've helped you do, like, does it now make sense to you, like how everything has actually been able to work? Because there's probably 3 or 4 pieces of the puzzle for us to consistently spend money and make money back. If you know what those 4 are, and like if you can kind of like explain that to people watching.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, one of the biggest things is, like you said, is having those videos and those photos of what's really going on. I I knew it was important, but I don't think I realized it until, again, you kind of put me into, if you were a consumer, how would you feel?
Yeah.
So that was huge for us. And I, in the back of my head, I'm right now thinking about what I'm going to do for architectural lighting, and it's very similar to the Christmas lights. It's just a little bit more time consuming, so we won't have as many things going on at once. But so yeah, that was really big. You also, I know you've told me multiple times, the selfie videos, which I'm still trying to work through getting comfortable doing,
Yeah.
but I've done a couple now. So, and getting that content and just educating the people in our area on what it is that we do and who we are.
Yeah. Yeah. Those 2 things are very big aspects of it. So, all right, cool. Yeah, I mean, I think we've kind of touched on a lot here. I'm trying to think if there's anything else of stuff that I missed.
So one thing I do want to mention is, so working with you, I have worked with a different marketing company with one of our other organizations, and I just did not get the same thing out of it. The coaching, I mean, the ads themselves are phenomenal. And they work great getting all those leads in. But the coaching, just the straightforward, I appreciate you being straightforward and to the point with me and just saying, you just got to do this. That's helpful. But also you have the group that we're all in, that we can bounce ideas off of or ask questions. And that's also very helpful, because sometimes I'm afraid to go in the bigger groups, because you just never know what kind of hate you're going to get from some of those groups. But in your group, it's always positive. Everybody's willing to help, and we're all kind of in the same industry. So there's somebody out there that has similar knowledge, and that's also very helpful.
Yeah, 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 that's awesome. That's a big aspect. Like with me, I'm like, how can I make this offer, right? Our help basically such a no-brainer that people love it so much they want to tell other people about it. Like that post I put out yesterday, I don't know if you saw it, but build a like forgot what it is, but you like build a really good offer or service and have people like be basically sales reps the rest of your life for you because your product's so good. But yeah, I guess one more or a few more things I want to touch on, and I think we're probably good to wrap up. So there's a big misconception in this online advertising space that I don't know, I guess like you pay for, let's just say, like people think that Facebook ads is a service and anybody can do it, right? It's just how cheap can I get it or how expensive can I get it? Um, because obviously I'm an ad agency, right? We get calls, we get some people that are like, geez, you're really expensive. Then we get people that are like, geez, I see the offer, like I see the value. But yeah, I mean, I guess what do you have to say to those people that think running Facebook ads is something that is just super simple and it's like really low cost a month and you just pay someone in a foreign country just to set it up and it's going to perform really well? Like what would you tell them after working with us and seeing everything that we actually know what to do and help you do? So
Yeah, so I think so. I have tried to run the Facebook ads on my own and watch the videos about how to do it right. It's just, you know, you have to focus on what you're good at, and that's not what I was good at. So that's what you're good at, and so you know exactly what to do. The thing that you mentioned earlier about not saying North Charlotte or Charlotte, it's Lake Norman. That's how we identify ourselves up here, is the Lake Norman area. So that was really important. Somebody from somewhere else is not going to just be able to run an ad and know that. And even my VA, when I was asking her to learn about the area so that she could speak to our clients and understand about specific things in the area or the neighborhoods in the area, she couldn't quite understand it as much. And so, and again, I think going back to those videos and us being in them, and the photos really just shows who we are. But yeah, you ask questions, you dig in, and you get all the right information so that you can run the right ads. And knowing who to target, I think also because you work with a specific group of people, you're not just working with everybody and anybody, you're very specific. So you understand our market better and the home services side of it better than a lot of other people.
Yeah, yeah. Basically, you get what you're paid for, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
In a sense, I don't know. Some people charge a lot and they don't know what they're doing. But anyways, yeah, I'm glad we had this interview today. I mean, we've touched on a lot of good points. I think this will help a lot of people, just like in similar situations, or maybe they just want to get our help, or hopefully some of you guys learned something. But I guess my last question to you would be like, what would you tell those people on the fence that maybe have had calls with us before and they think it's either too expensive, whatever, I'm not too sure. But what would you just tell people that, like, what would you recommend people do from here on if they're looking to scale?
Yeah. So, I mean, first of all, if people look at your site and see your interviews, they all know how happy we are with the service that you've provided us. I was one of those people who was like, when you're starting a business, it's a tough pill to swallow to just cough up money for a service you don't know if it's going to work or not, and you don't even have that money yet. So I was nervous, but I knew that I had to do something. Like I said, I've had a bad experience prior, so I was a little bit worried. But your results were so quick that it was very clear to me that it was going to be great. And really all I was looking for was to be able to make sure that I made back the money that I invested into hiring you. And absolutely, I think everybody that's signed up with you feels the same way. So if anybody's on the fence, and I would encourage, you're more than welcome to have your potential clients reach out to me, and I'll share my experience one-on-one. But yeah, it's worth every penny. And that's why I'm continuing on with you, because I'm excited about the next chapter.
Yeah. I think this next year is going to be, obviously, the landscape lighting, permanent lighting, going to be a little bit of a curve as far as just like timing, content, offer. But I think once we get that down, and then Christmas lights, I don't see how we probably couldn't do an extra 100K for you next year, just like for the whole year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad we had a good conversation today. Thank you so much for being on.
Thank you.
Like I said, I'm looking forward to helping you scale further. So yeah, thank you, Jill. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.